Hello, mateys. Sorry, it's a terrible pirate impression. So we're gonna be a pirate today in the villains. It's actually Captain Hook inspired. And you know, I've said before, and I'll say again, I don't think Captain Hook was completely a bad guy. He was like not the nicest guy, but I mean, Peter Pan was a little punk that cost him his hand. I don't know if I would be kind to that little kid either. And Peter Pan's behavior is reprehensible. I don't know. He definitely needs a parent, the way that kid acts. Sorry, I'm on a sidetrack. As far as the Captain Hook side, like watch Once Upon a Time. Anyway, it's Disney Villian, and it's called Captain Hook's Stuffed Shells. I'll take a picture here, show you the picture here. It's just stuffed shells. Kind of similar to what you might get at an Italian restaurant or something along those lines. It's got the pasta shells I'm gonna make, and then they've got the filling that you put in there, and it is more of a traditional filling. And I am a little nervous about this because it's got ricotta cheese on it. I think there was another video, it might have been the splat pancakes that you can find, and it was, you know, there was ricotta in that, and I was like, you know, I've come a long way in ricotta, but I had mentioned I was scarred from ricotta as when I was younger because of lasagna, and this I am a little nervous about because there's ricotta in it, but as I've gotten older, I've found I'm able to tolerate ricotta a lot better. So we're gonna put this together, and I'm gonna be completely honest, if I feel like the amount of ricotta it's calling for as I'm mixing it is a little too much, I may scale it back just a little bit. So here I'm starting, I have an egg in a bowl, and I'm adding the ricotta cheese. Now I'm adding some of the spices, such as garlic and parsley. Now it's time to add the cheese. There's a mozzarella cheese. And now I'm finishing off with some Parmesan cheese. A few more spices. And now I'm mixing it all together. And here it is basically done and mixed. Just preparing the shells by putting them in boiling water. So my shells, I got my mixture, I've got my pan. Now it's time to stuff them. I'm trying to let them cool for a few minutes so they're not too hot. After stuffing a few, I found the best way to do it was just to do them in my hand like this. I'm just pouring the rest of the sauce over the shells. And then I'll sprinkle it with some more cheese, and it's just some more mozzarella, and then I think I put a little bit more Parmesan on top after that. And finally, I cover it with foil and put it in the oven to bake. Here it is done and out of the oven. Let it cool for a few minutes and then eat it. Let's review Captain Hook's stuffed shells. They were actually really delicious. I think I'm officially converted. I am over my childhood trauma of ricotta cheese, at least maybe when I make it, it's good. I think it blended together nicely. It was fun. It was delicious. Now, one thing I did change in the recipe itself only calls for maybe like using a cup or so of sauce. I basically used the entire jar, like a regular size spaghetti jar that you get at a store. I put some on the bottom, I put some on the top. I like sauce, so I wanted to make sure that there was a lot of it in there, and I think it really added to the flavor, and I'm glad that I did it. So that would be my recommendation, to consider using a little bit more sauce than what it calls for, because I can't stand dry pasta. Maybe that's why I was scarred from ricotta, you know, the dried pasta and the cheese. My husband really liked it as well, so it was a big hit in our household. So that being said, let's get into the rankings and reviews. The first are the ingredients in a scale of 1 to 5. And these are a 1, meaning everything is easy to find. Nothing is super expensive. You know, depending on what kind of cheese you get, like the Parmesan and mozzarella, you might spend a little bit more. So it might be like a 1.5 for you if you want some good quality. Difficulty rating on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being easy and 5 being hard. I'm going to just put it at 2. I didn't really find it hard. I was nervous about stuffing the shells, but I got a rhythm with them pretty quickly, and I thought they were easy to stuff and they weren't complicated at all. So, but that's why I'm giving them a 2. I think that, you know, it could be intimidating stuffing a shell, but I'll assure you that stuffing these shells is not difficult at all. And then would I make this again on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being never and 5 being absolutely all the time? I'm gonna give it a 4.5. I'm not quite willing to commit to a 5. So am I going to make this again someday? More than absolutely likely. But the only reason I'm not giving it a wowzer 5 is that's just part of me. I'm getting older, and
let's just say me and red sauce aren't the best of friends that they used to be. I absolutely love it, but it's one of those dishes I can only eat every so often instead of frequently. So it's probably gonna be something that I am definitely gonna be making again, but it's not gonna be something I'm gonna make often. But I do recommend it, and if you've never made stuffed shells, this is a great, easy intro recipe to doing that. And one final note, again, these books are also geared to maybe help kids get familiar in the kitchen. I think kids would love putting stuffed shells together with you if you were considering that.